I should say that after I retired from teaching is when I started doing art again. First I picked up the pencils and papers and started drawing, got reconnected with the line and the movement of that. Then my mom was real sick, so we brought her out here to live with us from Illinois. And during the last 2 years of her life, where she died finally of breast cancer, we took care of her, and we were her hospice team and everything. And when she got so she couldn't move around, I was going out to the dumpsters and bringing in large quantities of all kinds, a huge variety of magazines that I would sit next to her and we would go through together.
Just to read?
Just to read or to look at the pictures. And every so often she said, I like that picture, so I'd tear it out and put it up on the wall. Finally, I started arranging the pictures on the wall into shapes and figures for her, and she got a kick out of that. You know how you see a portrait made out of 1,000 little pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't do that, but I got close to it a couple times, and she enjoyed it. She said, why don't you paste them down? I said, not on the wall, Mom. She said, well, okay. But after she died, I kind of went through a spontaneous outburst, and I actually started the whole process of making collages by, if you've been in my garage, one day I took all these pictures that I'd been sharing with my mom and tearing up, I just pasted them all up on the garage wall and realized that maybe I should start pasting them down smaller so I could look at them better and see how I'm doing them. And from that point, over the last 13 years, it's been growing. I'm much more selective about what I cut now, but I have tens of thousands, literally, of pieces that I've cut from many more magazines than that over the years, because I go through at least, I used to go through 1,000 magazines a year, no problem. In terms of how I bring how these things come together, all I can do is tell you that when I'm cutting pictures, sometimes certain ones will call to me and I'll put them aside. And sometimes I'll have 2 or 3 piles going. And what's calling the pieces together is color, it's shape, it's some mysterious whatever, but something's saying they go together. You know, even though they don't look like they would ever go together, I put them there anyhow if they say they want to be together. And I watch to see what happens. And over time, these things accumulate. And every so often, I'll stop and I'll go through and I'll start playing with them. Just play is the essence of everything, and see what comes up. Now, sometimes certain ideas suggested themselves immediately. Certain pieces said, you're going to work with me. And everything I make has a center somewhere in it. That's where it all got called together. And then I just work intuitively, playing, cutting. I don't paste anything down until I'm really sure of it. And sometimes I might work on a collage for months before I'll decide to glue it. You know, and I have stacks of them waiting for me to get back to them to look at them to see if I want to work with these particular things or not. And it takes a while to make those decisions. Meanwhile, new stuff's calling me all the time. And what I always hope for, and what frequently happens, is that I will find new material that calls me back to the old collage that's just been waiting for this piece all along. This is it. Now I can finish it. And I know right what to do. So I went into the Hay Street barbecue shortly after I started college with some friends one night, and T-Bone Walker was playing there. And between the T.S. Eliot and the T-Bone Walker, TMike Walker resonated in my head, and I started playing with it, and I wrote it down on the napkin there, I remember. And I went, that's it. So this is a belly dance. And it goes on endlessly. Then I like the Persian one, which is 6. This is the whirling dervish rhythm. And this is the one I trance out on frequently. It's like a meditation. After about a half an hour of playing any one rhythm, you're out. You're gone. There's not you, nobody home. This one's called Pelican Point. And it starts with a little epiphany, or kind of, I forget what they call them, but a funny old bird is the pelican. Its beak holds more than its belly can. I guess that's anonymous, although it sounds dangerously like Ogden Nash. The ancient ones arrive in V-shaped wings, cruising the cliffs as they circle the bay, or they skim single file in long gray lines just inches over the water, their swift wings stealing the lift of warm air. They rise, synchronistically moving as if with one mind, soaring, circling back, spying a silver school of fish below. Then, pausing to aim, they plunge, 1, then 20, 100 arrows shooting downwards, beak first into the sea, rising moments later with squirming pouches, trying to swallow whatever they scooped, surrounded by screeching gulls until their prehistoric wings grab air, rowing skyward again, their throats bulging, 2 beings in one head struggling for control. At what point does the fish become the pelican, the bird become the fish? The 2 lives merge and look out through one pair of eyes, well fed for now and satisfied. It's rather calm today, but about 2 months ago we had about 2 months worth of feeding frenzy all along these waters. They roiled with life. There were millions of fish and dolphins and seals and otters and pelicans and starlings, every kind of thing you could think of trying to eat each other going on out here. And further out you can see the whales breaching. There were so many whales in the bay because the krill was filling them up. And I guess it's still being produced, but it's not moving in the same way, nor are the schools of fish following it. The best poem I've ever heard about the bay or the ocean, the best poems, I've heard 2 poets do it right. One of them, William Everson, who was up here at the university for years, wrote some fabulous canticles to the songs to the ocean. And a fellow who just died, a surfer poet named Thomas Higginbotham. Yeah, you knew Tom? Yeah. Well, Tom wrote a fabulous poem, which was in the spirit of Everson, dedicating it to the mammals, or the marine mammals out here. There's so many of them. Anyhow, these are pieces from the poem Walking on West Cliff Drive, which has not yet, the walk is still going on. So that's, but in a way I say, as I mentioned before, why write a poem when you can be one? You come out here and you shut up and you don't have any words anymore, but you dissolve into this immensity. And what I realized when I first came out here, which inspired the first lines of the poem that I still haven't quite find the way, I know that when we get to the edge, it's like suddenly you realize this is the edge of eternity, infinity, beyond one step, and you're over into the other side. When that's the other side, up and down and all around out there, it just goes on and on.
Yeah.
It puts everything into a kind of minuscule perspective for yourself. You get to see how asinine most of our problems are, and all the rest of it falls into position. But anyhow, behold, from here to the horizon and beyond, immense expanse of living liquid, churning tides, wave upon wave rushes in towards shore. This is what we came here for, to smell and taste and see. Forget yourself, breathe deep and be. Lemming-like, we're drawn toward the ledge. Ignore the warning signs, jump the fence and dance along the edge of cliff. Waves crash on rocks below, spewing salty fans of seaweed smelling sea. Caution, danger, all the signs suggest respect. Don't turn your back, don't climb the cliffs. We ignore them, everyone.